Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you and the mercy and blessings of God. Today we're looking at surds, and the first thing we want to be able to do after knowing what a surd is, that it's just simply a number where you've got a square root over it, and there's no real easy way of answering that as a nice easy number. We want to be able to multiply them, and then after you know how to multiply them, divide them. And it's really simple. You just do what it says and just remember to put a square root on top. So here we've got the square root of 3 times 7, which is similar to 3 times 7, which is 21. And we can put a square root on top. So that's it. That's how you simplify a surd times another surd. And you can do divide in the same way. So if I had square root of 10, let me just draw that again. So if I have the square root of 10 divided by, and typically you'll see it as a fraction. I'll just use the divide line for now. Square root of 10 divided by the square root of 2. Neither of these are easy to convert into an answer. You'll get a long decimal, which we don't really want to work with. We just want to keep it nice and simple. So here I can do 10 divided by 2, which is 5. And then just put the square root on top. Square root of 5. Oh. And then we can go the other way as well. So if we want, we can split. Instead of going from right to left or left to right, instead of going this way, we can go this way as well. So I can take a single number, a surd written as a single number, and I can make that split into the timesing one or the dividing one. It doesn't matter which way you go as long as your math is correct. So here let's choose, for example, let's say the square root of 10. I wanted to split that. Well, I know that 2 times 5 is 10, so I can write that as the square root of 2 times 5. And then I can split each bit. So I've got the square root of 2 times the square root of 5. Let's try another one and watch what happens, because just like in algebra, where we don't really write the time sign, then surds is a little bit like that, where if we can get away with not writing the time sign, then we'll not write the time sign. So let's give you an example of how that might happen. So let's go with square root of 50. Suppose I wanted to rewrite the square root of 50. Well, I could write that as the square root of 25 times 5. 25 times 2. To make sure your maths is correct. So 50 is made up of 25 times 2. I could have chosen other calculations, but I'll just go with this. And then I can split that into the square root of 25 being timesed by the square root of 2. And the nice thing about doing it this way is we do get an easy one that we can work out. So the square root of 2 stays a square root of 2, but look at the square root of 25. I know that that's something you learn in primary school. That's going to be 5. So you can swap the square root of 25 with 5. Technically speaking, it's plus or minus 5, but with surds, you don't have to worry about that. You can just make it the positive one. So now I've got 5 times root 2 as my answer. But remember what I said about not needing to write the time sign if we don't have to. So here the 5 and the root 2, we're just going to drop the time sign and write 5 root 2. As the final answer. 5 root 2 really means 5 times root 2, but we just don't bother writing the time sign. I can show you that works with divide as well. So we can take, let's say, for example, 200. Square root of 200 is made up of, I don't think I want you to go with 200. Okay, I'll go with 200 and show you just another times, or maybe I'll let you do this one. So if you can split that into two surds that times to get the square root of 200, with hopefully one of them being an easy one to work out. See what you get. Let me give you 1 minute to do that, and then I'll show you a divide one. So hopefully that's enough time. You could have written this as 100, square root of 100 times the square root of 2. And the easy one is the square root of 100, which just makes 10. And then when we drop the time sign, we could just write that as 10 root 2. Okay, so let me show you, as promised, one with divide. So what I was really thinking of was the square root of 50. And I can rewrite that as the square root of 100 divided by 2, because 50 is the number you get when you do 100 divided by 2. So square root of 50 would be the same as 100 divided by 2 square rooted. Let me make sure this square root is over all of it. So I've just rewritten the 50 as a divide, as 100 divided by 2. And then you can split that, so you've got the square root on each bit. This only works with times and divide, by the way. Don't try this with add or take away. With add or take away, the rules are different. So with times or divide, you can split that. And now the top is quite easy to work out, which is 10. So it's 10 over root 2. Okay, so hopefully an easy one for you to get your head around, multiplying and dividing surds. I'll just give you a practice one to finish off with. So if you can just tell me the answer to these two, and then we are done. Okay, just take a minute, see if you can work those out. And if you're ready, then type into the chat box what you think the answer is. The first one will hopefully be easy. And the second one is easy as well, but there's just a little extra step you can do. Okay, very good. Root 14 for the first one. And 5 comes from root 25, as Aisha's correctly thought in her head, which then becomes 5 as your final answer. So well done on both of those. No lessons for the rest of the week, but I'll see you again, inshallah, if God wills, on Monday, the 14th of December at 9 p.m., which is the usual time for the lessons. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you and the blessings of God.